Hi there, my name is Josh, and on this channel we talk a lot about hardware, but let's talk about programming today. I have a friend and computer software developer and programmer with me. He has an awesome YouTube channel, and today I would like to have an interview of what gets him excited about programming, what has kept him at it, and generally his story along the way. So, thanks for joining us. Also, you should check out his channel. He has a YouTube channel, really big. Subscribe. Good stuff there. Really good stuff. You can find a tutorial for nearly every language.
What am I supposed to say? Yeah, your brain does turn off as soon as you're in front of the camera. It's crazy. Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb. Like Josh said, I do programming. I got a software development channel here on YouTube, and I'm visiting today just to talk a little bit about what got me started, what excites me about it, and how I stay driven to always keep learning. So it's kind of like a bunch of different things that happened all at a very similar time. So one thing that got me interested, and like Josh, I used to play video games on the computer, and we played Minecraft together, and I set up a Minecraft private server, which took me way too long. And I actually got help from a book I got at the library that talked a little bit about port forwarding and also a little bit on web development. So that kind of sparked my interest, and at that point I knew a little bit about HTML and how to make a web page, but I wanted to make a dynamic application, something that could change based on different things. So something that could say, "Hello Caleb, welcome to your website." So that was like my goal, and at the time it just seemed like an astronomically difficult goal. And at the similar time here is when Josh also was getting a little bit into some programming. So he was reading like a Java book in high school. I was like, dude, why are you reading that? It's so lame, you nerd. But then I started looking at it, and I found out, hey, I'm actually kind of interested in this stuff. So that was when the interest sparked. But a lot of people come to my videos and they say, I just don't get any of this stuff. And that's exactly where I started. It took me like 2 or 3 days solid straight effort just to get that Minecraft server up. And getting a website up was equally as difficult. Fortunately, me and Josh weren't exactly very good in high school, and we would often skip classes or do all these other things you're not supposed to do, and we would go to the computer lab and try to build stuff. So I remember making our first HTML page and being like, whoa, this is crazy. We're building like the next MySpace or whatever it was. And we just continued to pursue it as an interest. So at this point, I wasn't really like, hey, I'm going to do this for a career. I just found it interesting because the ability to make a computer, something that just works and does its thing, being able to tell it what to do and control it is a very empowering feeling, something I didn't experience in any of my other classes in high school. Well, throughout the whole learning experience, I don't think there has ever been a point where I think, oh, this is easy. Even after almost like 10 years of programming, the stuff I study today still feels equally as difficult as what I started with when I just got started with programming. Because I think in order to learn, you always have to stretch beyond your comfort zone and challenge yourself with something new. So the stuff I started with might seem easy to me today, and hopefully in 10 years I look back and see the stuff I'm working on now and I'm like, wow, that was so easy. Why was I struggling with that? So in order for me to stay motivated, I always had to challenge myself, but always focus on that right level of difficulty, where it's a little bit out of reach, but not so far out of reach that it's overwhelming and no longer becomes fun. I think for me, a lot of my learning has been interest-based, and I always try to stay excited about what I'm working on. Because I remember back at one point, I wanted to get into programming and I wanted to take it seriously. So I rented a C++ book. I would argue probably one of the more difficult programming languages, and this is one of my first programming books. Reading through this book, I was in the first or second chapter, and I didn't understand it, and I think it was so much more than I was able to understand that I kind of lost interest in that, and I didn't finish the book. Whereas Josh, I think he prefers things to be much more difficult. I like him to just be a little bit out of my comfort zone, and that was just way too far. So in order for me to kind of progress beyond just being basic and doing simple HTML pages up to building applications and working for tech companies or starting my own business. I had to progress a little bit by a little bit and maintain that interest over many years. So some of the things I did was I started a YouTube channel just teaching some more complex concepts I didn't see taught on YouTube. So I focused on some database design stuff and how to make dynamic web pages. And that was something that people could get into without tons and tons of experience and without being like really versed in technology. When did my interest become my career? Well, I always knew, even from very early on in my life, that I didn't want a traditional career path. I knew I wanted to be able to do that if I wanted, so I ended up going and getting a bachelor's degree, tried to set myself up so that I could get a good job if I wanted. But I also knew that business and entrepreneurship was going to be part of my life no matter what. Even in middle school, I remember being like, I want to be a YouTuber. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the next Smosh or whatever it was at the time. So I started that very young because I knew that would come back and help me in the future. But I just wanted to maintain that interest. And I remember getting my very first paycheck right after I turned 18. And that was a very rewarding feeling. And at that point, I knew that what I'm doing can pay off not only for my interests, but also for my career. So I'm not really sure if I explained the question, or I'm not sure if I answered the question very good. How did I bring it from just an interest to a career? But I think ultimately it comes down just to really thinking about what I wanted to do with my life and realizing that I don't just want to have the standard job and go to school and do what everybody else is doing. I wanted to do something different. So in high school, I was always purposely spending time to progress on my goals with programming and just general computer knowledge. Also part of this was just refining my knowledge to specific things. So I quickly realized that I wasn't very good at design. I wasn't very good at like CSS and other areas of computers that are somewhat related, but I was really good at understanding how languages work. So that's why on my YouTube channel, I focus on various programming constructs and loops and everything like that, as opposed to building beautiful web pages. So I was able to kind of refine my knowledge and get better at one thing, which made me valuable. And my YouTube channel ended up opening a lot of career opportunities, and it really helped me progress. So what are my goals? Career-wise, I want to specialize, get better at one particular thing. As I'm sure you know, my interests change about every 6 weeks. So it's been really hard to become excellent at anything. And for some people that's fine, but for me, I feel like in order for me to find fulfillment, I need to be able to say, hey, I am one of the best people in the world at this thing. So I'm refining my focus on my career on exponentially growing my YouTube channel and just being the best channel there is for programming and software development. And I also want to refine my knowledge, so I'm specialized in one programming language or one particular concept. And in that way, I can stand out from the rest of the people studying the same stuff. And then personal goals. Well, this year, it's probably marked about a year since I started my YouTube channel full time. And that first year was wild, it was crazy, but we got through it, and now I'm going into year 2, which is where I really need to think about where I want this to go in the next 5 to 10 years. And part of that is improving my work-life balance. It's not all about work, it's not all about not work. I need to find enjoyment in my work and spend a little bit more time personally just on my health, being more, doing some more sports, which me and Josh have been getting into Taekwondo or different martial arts, and we even did some hip-hop dance classes, which has been fun. So I've been really trying to improve my health, which has ultimately helped me do videos better. I find my focus is stronger. I feel like my back is healthier, and it's a win-win because I don't have to work as much, but the result is just as good or better. And then financially, I want this channel to grow into a successful business where I can live off of it, hopefully hire some people and offer programs for people to subscribe to and whatever it ends up being, but I want it to be awesome and I want it to be looked at by people in the industry as really good. Conclusion. I wasn't done. So yeah, I started maybe like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, getting into programming, and it's been a wild journey. I've had a lot of interesting jobs, a lot of times where it's really stressful, and then other times it's really enjoyable. But ultimately, I think it's about always keeping that joy, always expanding your brain, and really thinking about what's valuable in your life and in your career. That's what I've been doing, and it's been working so far, so we'll see what comes up next. And if you want to know more about programming or just my life story, you can check me out on my YouTube channel, Caleb Curry. And also, I'm sure we'll do more collaborations in the future. So, thank you.